motherfucker to get this nigga next.
Hey guys, UFC 246 coming this Saturday only on pay-per-view. And of course, you can watch the prelims on ESPN Plus or where I'm from, Canada, TSN. That's my baby. I love it. And honestly, we're here to discuss and give my predictions for the upcoming card. It's a very exciting card top to bottom. It's not getting enough love. I know Conor McGregor's fighting. Everyone loves Conor McGregor. Even people who don't even watch UFC on a regular basis are probably going to come and watch this fight just because McGregor's fighting. And he's fighting a beauty in Donald Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, this guy's got records for days. Absolutely love the guy as a human being. He's just such a cool freaking dude. I mean, what more can you say? His kid's name is freaking Danger. What more do I need to say? But with that being said, let's get into this card. I'm going to be talking big about McGregor and Cowboy. There's a lot to discuss, but I want to give a little shout out to the undercard because obviously we know the undercard doesn't get enough love. So I'm going to go through it a little quickly and yeah, let's go for it. So my first fight that I want to take a look at, the prelims. It's the early prelims. I hope I'm not butchering these names. Askar Askarov and Tim Elliott. Now, Askarov is 10-0-1. Elliott 15-9-1. Now, I know Elliott's a veteran of the sport. He fought DJ for the title coming off the Ultimate Fighter when the Ultimate Fighter was looking for a contender for DJ at the time. But Askarov is a big up-and-comer, actually. A lot of people will not know about him, but just because he had a draw in his UFC debut means absolutely nothing. We all know about the UFC jitters. We know it's a real thing. Some people, it doesn't really affect as much. Some people it does. It's really up to the person. I'm going to blame it on UFC jitters. Let's put it that way. I know Askarov has the ability to take Elliott down, give him some troubles. I mean, these Dagestanis, they are absolutely incredible when it comes to the ground game. I think it's really just going to be too much. It's obviously going to be a test for Askarov because Elliott does have that experience. It'll be just a fun fight overall. Flyweights, I love you guys. Don't die. And moving on, of course, to the next fight that I want to take a look at, I believe it's just after it. Alaska Kammer versus Justin Ledet. Kammer's 5-0. Ledet 9-2. Now, I really have to give credit to Alaska here. What a freaking knockout during the Contender Series. A flying knee. If you guys have not seen that, you got to go check it out. He's obviously fighting a guy with more than double the fight experience than himself, but it's going to be a test. And I think that's really what this fight is all about. But I'm all about the previews. I'm all about here checking this out. And I just think this is going to be a fun fight. I want to see Kammer do another crazy knockout. That would be cool. So we'll see what happens on that one. Moving on to the later prelims starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, if you live in Toronto, where I am. You got Nasrat. I'm not even going to try and say his last name, but he's fighting Drew Dober. Now, Nasrat, he may have lost his first fight coming into the UFC, but most recently he's actually won by a knockout. Now we know Drew Dober, he's got a lot more experience. He's actually been in the UFC since 2013. A lot of people don't know of him because he's always on the undercards or, he's never really been a main event type of guy. But Drew Dober's got a lot of experience. He's fought a lot of good fighters, and it'll be a very good test for Nasrat. We'll see where he, levels up coming in or matches up. And then this is my favorite fight of the undercard. Andre Touchy-Feely and Sadiq Youssef. Andre Feely 20-6, Sadiq Youssef 10-1. This fight is going to be sick. Fireworks. Sadiq Youssef, Andre Feely. I think this is going to be a stand and bang war. These Nigerians have been coming out of nowhere. You got Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and now you got Sadiq Youssef in featherweight. It is really fun to see these Russians and Nigerians come up and out of nowhere, really, and show us what they got. And now he's going to be fighting Andre Feely, who has a lot of fights in the UFC, actually, and this is going to be a real test to see where Sadiq or even Andre goes, because I believe the winner of this fight should get a main card spot in their next fight. and hopefully move up those featherweight rankings. These are two very good up-and-comers, and it'll be very fun to watch. And of course, closing out the prelims will be Macy Barber and Roxanne Modafferi. This is a legit veteran of the sport, been through I don't know how many wars and fought in the who's who of women's MMA. And then you got this up-and-comer Macy Barber, had that huge Instagram ordeal with Paige Van Zandt. Didn't get that fight, but now she's fighting Roxanne Modafferi. And to be honest with you, I think this is going to be a better fight for Barber. Barber is going to be able to show her skills better against Modafferi than I think she would against PVZ, mainly because of Modafferi's experience and just the adaptability that she's been able to do or have inside the cage. I'll be very honest, I'm not a big fan of Modafferi in the term of watching her fight. I don't think she's a very fun fighter to watch. She's got a very unorthodox stance, but she's a very good fighter. She wins fights. It's really weird to watch, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And Roxanne is a pioneer of women's MMA, and I do respect her, and I would never want to scrap that girl. But Macy Barber seems to be another type of beast altogether. 8-0. I don't think it will be her first loss. I think she's going to keep going up in the rankings until she runs into someone a little bit tougher, maybe someone from another division perhaps, like, the bantamweight's coming down to flyweight or a strawweight going up to flyweight. The flyweight division hasn't really been developed. Valentina Shevchenko is absolutely destroying everybody. But, if Macy Barber keeps it up, she could be fighting for a world title at the end of 2020. Now, before we move on, I do need to clarify that sometimes the fight records on the screen will be a little different than what I say, and that's only because UFC.com has refused to update some of these guys' records. I just want to let you guys know, doing my research and I'm double checking everything before. I don't know why UFC.com doesn't update their records, but such is life. Now, on to the first fight of the main card. We have Anthony Showtime Pettis against Diego Ferrara. Now, according to mybookie.com, as of right this second, Diego Ferrara is the minus 250 favorite, while Anthony is the plus 195 underdog. Now, some of you may be wondering, what the hell is going on? Let me explain. Diego is on a 5-fight winning streak. His last 2 fights were over crazy up-and-coming Russians who, honestly, I thought were going to beat him. I didn't even know who Diego was at that time. And Diego surprised the shit out of me. Completely nullified both of them, most recently being Taisimov. And yeah, just completely dominated, won the fight both fights by decision. And he's earned this fight against Anthony Pettis, the former WEC lightweight champion, former UFC lightweight champion. And even though Pettis is coming down from welterweight, I don't think that's really going to be a factor. If anything, I think the fact that he lost to Nate Diaz and the way he lost, because it was a good fight, let's be honest. That was a great fight. But Pettis was injured 60% of that fight at least. At least. And I really think that played and contributed to the result of that fight. But also, before that fight, you can't forget he knocked out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and no one expected him to do that. So, he has the skills and the abilities to be able to do it. Whether he's going to come up and show on fight night is the question. And you know what? My prediction is that he is going to come and show up. Anthony Pettis is my boy. I absolutely love to watch this guy fight. Diego, I understand why you're the favorite, and I understand that he's on a complete hot streak, but I think Anthony is going to be a little bit too much, and I think he's going to really want to prove to himself and the world that he still deserves to be in the top of the lightweight division. My prediction, Anthony Pettis via decision. Continuing on with our main card, we have Alexa Grasso versus Claudia Gadelha. Now, as of right now, mybookie.com has both of them at minus 115. I kind of find this interesting, mainly because of Gadelha's experience. Now, I know Grasso's an up-and-comer. She's doing really well for herself, but she is coming off a loss to Carla Esparza. And we cannot forget that Gadelha has fought for a championship. She's actually fought in Esparza. She actually wiped the floor with Esparza as far as I'm concerned. And even though Grasso didn't have her best performance against Carla, I still think Gadelha is more of a beast than even Esparza was. So even if the real Grasso comes out, I'm not sure if she's going to be able to sustain the right amount of pressure to keep Gadelha going, or backing up. Gadelha is a big strawweight. She's big for her division. She's pretty jacked, man, and I think she's really gonna muscle her way through Grasso, and I think she's gonna win this by decision. Yeah, I do like Grasso. I have a little bit of a crush on her. I can't lie, but I have to give Gadelha the nod here. Claudia Gadelha by decision. Now, moving on through the main card, we go to the heavyweight division. We have Maurice Greene versus Aleksei Olynyk. Now, this is an interesting fight. MyBookie.com has Maurice Greene at minus 133 favorite, where Aleksei is actually the plus 103 underdog. And now, I completely understand where these guys are coming from. Olynyk got knocked out twice in a row now. Most recently, very viciously. I believe it was like 12 seconds or whatever. Very brutal knockout. Maurice Greene coming off of his own knockout wins. I mean, we saw him in The Ultimate Fighter. He has that knockout power. And I do believe if he catches Olynyk with those hands, it's going to be a very short night. The thing that I think a lot of people, and I think the odds makers are forgetting, Olynyk fought Mark Hunt, and I thought Olynyk was going to get destroyed by Mark Hunt. I'll never forget it. And he just took him down right away and submitted him. Now, I know there will be a couple differences. You can say, oh, hey, Pumps, hold up a second, bro. Like, Mark Hunt has a terrible submission game. We all know that. But hold up a second. What's the difference between Maurice Greene and Mark Hunt? Apart from the height, of course. But Maurice Greene is very fresh. He's very new to this sport. I haven't seen him in, that type of situation where he's fighting a outstanding grappler like Olynyk. So with that knowledge and remembering the Mark Hunt fight, I'm going to go with Olynyk on this one. I think he's going to take him down, and I think he's going to submit him either in early first round or, second round. So my prediction for this fight, Olynyk via submission, either in the first or second round. On to the co-main event of UFC 246, we have Raquel Pennington and Holly Holm. Now, my bookie has Holly Holm as the minus 133 favorite, where Raquel Pennington is the plus 103 underdog. I find that interesting, but before I go into that, I need to say, people, you got to give this fight some love, and I'm going to explain why. Holly Holm, I know she's, up, down. She has some boring fights, but then again, she does come out and, she knocks out ladies like Bethe Correia and Ronda Rousey. We can never forget that. She has her moments. I think this fight with Raquel's style, that rocky, that grinding, that dirty boxing, that style is really going to play into Holly's wheelhouse. And it should be a fun fight mainly because of that. I know Raquel got absolutely owned by Amanda Nunes, but honestly, this is really just an interesting fight. I think what's going to happen is Raquel's going to dirty box Holly Holm, get in her face, and really put on the pressure. I don't see a KO or TKO happening for either ladies. Holly Holm is a very good striker. Obviously, we all know that. But I just can't see her knocking out Raquel. I just see Raquel being way too tough. Even Amanda Nunes had a really hard time getting her out there. I know she eventually did, but we can't forget that was a crazy amount of toughness that she showed during that fight. So, with my prediction, I'm actually going to give Raquel Pennington the decision. I think Holly comes off a little slow in the early bits, and Raquel is going to take advantage of that, probably win the first 2 rounds, and then Holly's going to wake up in the third, but it'll be a little too late because it's only a 3-round fight. Giving it to Raquel Pennington via decision over Holly Holm. And now we get to the main event of the evening. We have Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Conor McGregor. Now, the odds makers at mybookie.com have McGregor at the minus 350 favorite, while Donald Cowboy Cerrone is the plus 275 underdog. I can see where they're going with that. But let's get into this fight, shall we? First of all, this fight is at 170 pounds. That is not their normal weight class. Let me get that straight. Second of all, they're both coming off of losses. Conor McGregor, that infamous loss to Khabib. I don't really need to get into that. We all know what happened. That was the most viewed UFC card in history. So I hope you all saw that. But obviously before that, 2 years prior, he knocked out Eddie Alvarez and made him look absolutely silly. Then you flip the coin, you have Donald Cowboy Cerrone coming off back-to-back losses. Now, I know these losses aren't to scoff at, but we have to look at them. Most recently, TKO lost to Justin Gaethje. And then, of course, the loss previous to that was Tony Ferguson. Honestly, I can see this fight really predominantly staying stand-up. And if it does, Conor McGregor will probably take advantage of that department with his counter-striking. That's really where I see the stand-up going. They're both extremely good strikers, but I just see Conor being way too fast with the counter-strikes and reading Cowboy eventually. It'll be a fun first round, don't get me wrong, but I just see, later on the second round, third round, Conor's going to figure it out. This is where the fight will become tricky. Will Cowboy find a way to get Conor to the ground? Because it's not going to be, something like, where Khabib can actually maul you to the ground like a freaking grizzly bear. It's not going to be the case in this situation. Donald has to be smart. He's going to have to catch him, maybe clip him, maybe, work the clinch game a little bit. Hopefully he outmuscles him, see where the strength comes in, and then work his way to the ground game. I feel like he can submit him. It is a 5-round fight. Cowboy has the abilities to pull off a submission and pull off this huge upset. The only thing is, I don't think it's going to happen, mainly because of how they're interacting in the press conference and even the demeanor of Cowboy. He's really talking about stand-up a lot. He's really, bringing up this a lot in interviews, actually. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just to throw us off. If he's doing that to throw us off, it's a very good mental trick. It's working. I don't know if it's working on McGregor, but it's definitely working on me. But, with that being said, I think it's really actually just going to be a stand-up. I think they really do want to make the fans happy because they both know that they're very good at the striking game and they can both make the fans happy. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're more thinking about the fans. It's not, and how spoiled are we to enjoy a great stand-in war bang like those two guys. That's going to be a great fight if they end up doing it. even if they go to the ground, I will not be upset because I know that both these guys have great ground skills. It should be a big war regardless. With my prediction, though, I'm going to have to take Conor McGregor. I really feel like he's going to take it to the next level in the striking game. His counter strikes are just going to be too fast, too much for Cowboy, and I'm predicting a second or third round TKO. So that's my preview for UFC 246 this Saturday night, only on pay-per-view. I'm really excited for these fights. It's going to be a really freaking exciting card. I'm going to have some friends over. We're going to enjoy some beers. And hopefully I come back to you guys after the fights for a review talk and we can discuss on what happened there. Have a great night. Take care. And hopefully we'll see you later. 2020, 1-0.